Have you ever just been like very bored one day, so you went into, I don't know, Epic Games or Steam or something, and then you found a game called Dauntless, you installed it, now you have no clue what to do? Yeah, me neither. Hey, I'm Welp, and today this is going to be a beginner's guide on how to play Dauntless. So the first thing to start off playing Dauntless is to have, this isn't like the first step, but basically you need to go through the tutorial, which you basically should already do that, and it should give you the basis of dodging, keyframe or iframes, attacking, and then heavy attacks, light attacks, combos, stuff like that. Maybe not combos, but it'll give you the basics of stuff. But once you have that down, then you're ready to start the game. First thing you want to do is find a set of armor that suits you well. For example, my favorite set of armor in the game, well at the beginning, was the Nasher armor. Though it's not the best in the game, it has pretty good stats. If you want to spice it up a little bit, you can use this build as shown on screen. You're probably not going to have the cells if you're starting the game off new, but you should at least be able to get the armor with just a little bit of playtime. Then the Nasher sword, or any Nasher weapons, they're not like the best ever, but they're easy to get at the beginning. Personally, if you can, I would get the Riftstalker, or heck, even the Valimir if you want to. I'm not entirely sure on the Valimir stats, but I'll have to check that. But I know for sure that the Riftstalker weapons are pretty decent starting out, and they can actually be pretty deadly later on in the game due to the Wild Frenzy, and I think they have like a utility slot. So then the next thing is your weapon. You want to find a pretty good weapon. The top picks for me is either the Helion, the Onissaboris, the Rezakiri, and Shroud of Riftstalker. I know you're not gonna be able to get the Shroud of the Rezakiri ones starting out the game, but they're always good to consider when you go later into the game. But the Onissaboris, or not the Onissaboris, the Boris weapons and the Helion are always my two favorite when I was starting out the game, because one, the Onissaboris, as I was saying, is a sword, and it is the best one in the game I think of right now, and I've been using it for a long time, and it's just personal favorite. And then the Helion one has Major Blaze, and you're probably going to need two of them unless you run a neutral, because if you ever go against the Helion or the Onus, you're going to need, or the Boreas, I need to get that in my head. If you either go between one or the other, having a fire sword against a Helion is not going to be the best bet. After you get your weapon down and your gear, you're going to want to focus on farming behemoths, or not really farming behemoths, but doing patrols, getting your weapons and gear leveled up. So the best way to do this is to usually, if you're having trouble with a behemoth such as the Helion, because I had to farm that for a while to get my gear to the stage it is, just don't attack the behemoth, let the behemoth attack you, and just try to dodge the attacks. Now going into the Helion fight, you're probably going to want to get Molten, and the the chest plate for the Helion, usually it has a +1 Molten starting out, but it can go to +3, and if you are able to, it'd be good to get another Molten cell and pop it in, just so you can get that extra protection against the fire, because if not, you're going to have a pretty rough time starting out trying to dodge all the fire and stuff like that. Same thing with the Boreas. If you're gonna try to get the Boreas weapons, or the Nasher's okay. The Boreas though has a stage where it like completely encases itself in ice, and you just have to go and kill off the little minions, so it isn't really that hard. So the last and final step is going to be cells. You're gonna want to be able to have a good arsenal of cells later on in the game for escalations, trials. Well, that is if you want to level up your gear and get Discipline and Berserker and Engineer. Well, I don't really need to use Engineer, but I know that that's one of the things. Or even like Avenging Overdrive, I think that's what it's called, because I still haven't got that. I'll have to grind more. But I know that that's like a parry system and riposte and stuff like that. You want to get your cells, so basically you're going to start out with like +1 unless you get a gold core, which is how you get gold cores by leveling up your progression in the Behemoth, Pike, Sword, Axe, Warhammer, Chain Blades, or just your overall mastery, which is from leveling up those. And then they can give you gold Slayer cores, which can give you +3. And some good cores to think about is Rage, Iceborne. Iceborne is going to be essential later on if you're going to try to do escalations. 9 lives is a good one if you get hit around a lot and you want to try to avoid that, like using if you're not completely confident with an axe, that will save you sometimes. Another good one is Rage Hunter. That will give you extra damage when they're enraged. and then Wild Frenzy, which comes with the Riftstalker gear, or the Riftstalker weapons. That'll give you attack speed, and then Conduit and Etheric Friend. You're gonna need Conduit and Etheric Attunement for a bunch of builds, especially if you watch YouTube tutorials. They use those two quite heavily. And then, like I said, Discipline and Berserker, you're gonna have to just wait until you progress further into the game to get those. And then the last step, which probably isn't the most important thing ever, but it is always good to have friends help you, because you only get 3 self-revives, and if you have that extra person there, or hell, if you even have the extra 3 people, it's going to be a lot easier for you, and especially if you have a veteran player, or maybe not a veteran player, but someone that's like skilled, then they'll help you out a lot too, because they'll have the knowledge of blocking, they'll always be able to revive you, and they'll tell you, or unless they're just like complete like they don't know how to explain stuff, but they'll help you level up your gear and stuff like that. So that was the beginner's guide to Dauntless. I will be posting more content relating how to kill behemoths such as the Boreas, the Helion, the Nasher, and the Riftstalker, along with the Shroud and Rizakiri. I know there's already videos on YouTube, but I haven't seen any 2020 guides. So this will give like a kind of a fresh start, and that's about it.